I'm Sergeant J.D. Nelson with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. I think most of you know that. My immediate right is Lieutenant Colby Steza. You want to introduce your team? Or
and this is Detective Gustavo Mora, and Detective Pat Smith, and Detective Rick Gonzalez.
And we're here to give out the information regarding the fire that occurred in Castro Valley that we got reported on Thursday. As most of you know, the Alameda County Fire Department got a call of a structure fire on Thursday, very early hours of Thursday morning, and at which time when they went in to fight the fire, they found a deceased body in the home. They called the sheriff's office and we responded, and immediately we thought that the fire was very suspicious. We thought an accelerant was used, and our suspicions were in fact true, and the coroner's office has identified the victim in this case, and I will pronounce her name and I'll spell it for you. It's Barbara Latchley, and the spelling of that last name is Latiolas, and that is her photo right there. And at this time, we're calling it a homicide. They've determined that she was brutally assaulted in the home, and the fire was meant to cover either that act or a theft that occurred from items that were taken out of the house. I'm not going to get into exactly what items were taken, but there were some valuables taken out of the house. And at some point, either Wednesday night or very early Thursday morning, Miss Latchley was brutally attacked and murdered, and that fire was subsequently set. Now on to the next piece of information that we have for you is this vehicle right here belonged to the residents on San Carlos, and that vehicle was taken by the suspect, we believe. That vehicle was found several hours later in Castro Valley, and these are actual photos of the car, and we're asking for the public's help to let us know if they saw that car, this car, driving in Castro Valley anytime between Thursday, early morning hours of Thursday, and the early morning or the later morning hours of Thursday.
Would you describe that car, make and model?
It's a Volvo. It's a 1990.
That's it.
What's that?
2006
Excuse me.
Volvo.
2006 Volvo.
Station wagon, Volvo X.
SUV, I guess we would call it.
Is it black?
Yes.
It's black? Oh,
Yes.
Looks great, okay.
And we believe the suspect drove that car around for several hours after the murder was committed.
Why no plate?
The plate has been blocked out for our purposes. We've blocked it out.
So you're not releasing it to us?
Correct. And the next item that we have for you is we have a composite of a person that was seen leaving the area of this vehicle and possibly seen near the home on San Carlos, and that is going to be our composite here. Put it over here. Why don't we just throw it over here? Thank you. Grab that.
While we're waiting, when you say assaulted, was she beaten up or was she sexually assaulted?
The coroner is making some determinations on the actual cause of death, and we don't want to reveal exactly what we know because we want only the person that committed this murder to know that at this point. But it's safe to say that she was assaulted.
She was alone in the house at the time?
We believe so. Now, we also, when we have this person that we're showing to you, that there could be a situation where he did not act alone, but this is the composite that we have of the person that we believe was seen near the vehicle in Castro Valley.
Do you have any reason to believe that this person and this composite and this woman knew each other?
Okay, you have to...
Do you have any reason to believe that this person in the composite sketch and the dead woman
We don't know who we don't know who the composite is, so it's hard for us. We can't answer that one. So at this point, no.
Is the sketch based on neighbors that saw the person go in and out, or what's it?
It's based on witness accounts. eyewitness accounts of seeing this person.
Was the house her address or the other person's address that we've heard lived there?
Okay.
Was that her mailing address or was the address of someone else?
Well, that I don't know.
No, that was the victim's address.
I understand that the victim and her boyfriend had a long relationship, many years. And I do want to clarify that the homeowner of the house is in no way, shape, or form a suspect in this murder whatsoever.
He was out of state,
He
correct?
was out of town, out of state, and as you can imagine, the despair that he got getting such a phone call to learn what happened to his loved one. He had absolutely nothing to do with it.
And just to be clear, that homeowner is Michael J. Rice.
That's correct.
These witness accounts that led you to be able to make this composite drawing, were they people that witnessed this suspect coming out of the house or being in that car?
Well, I don't want to get into too many specifics, but we can certainly say that seen leaving the area of that vehicle, for sure. And possibly up on the San Carlos address as well.
But to be clear, who does that car belong to?
Belongs to Mr. Rice, correct?
The vehicle, it is registered to Mr. Rice and the victim.
And the victim?
That's correct.
So was this a break-in? Is that what you're thinking, or what happened exactly? Can you go over that?
Well, that's a great question. That's one of the items that we're working on is how entry was made into the home. There's nothing that is real obvious of how it was done, but you also have to remember back on Wednesday night, Thursday, it was not like it is today. It was quite warm. We had a very unusual hot spell, so it's possible that somebody would have had a window or door open, so it's hard to say what exactly happened at that point.
But is there any reason to believe that the deceased let the suspect in?
We have no reason to believe that. Again, we don't know exactly how that occurred.
And JD, can you talk about any similar burglaries in the area, or at least in your area of jurisdiction, that might fit into a pattern?
Well, there's nothing that we're connecting, absolutely. We, like many other agencies in the area, have had a rise in home burglaries, but that's not to say that this is connected at all.
Would you describe the suspect in terms of age and nationality and all of that?
LT, I think that might be a better one for you.
The composite and the witnesses that saw it describe a Hispanic or possibly Middle Eastern male in late teens to early 20s. And that's about as best a description that we have at this time.
And because assuming that her body was badly burned, there's no ability to tell how long she had been deceased?
We believe it was fairly recent in conjunction with the fire. But the fire did do damage, so the coroners had difficulty doing an identification on her.
Did the fire destroy any evidence that might relate to the suspect in this case?
Well, that's hard to say because it's kind of like answering a negative. What was destroyed is hard to say. But we are certainly working. Obviously, we're working a lot of different leads. That's why we have all of you here. And again, I'll just reiterate. This woman was brutally murdered in Castro Valley. We believe that somebody in Castro Valley or nearby area may know have seen this person, may know what's going on. We encourage them to call us. You can see our investigators here. They all look tired because they've been working on this nonstop since that time, and we're leaving no stone unturned. We're gonna do our best to get this person into custody because they deserve to be in jail. This is a terrible act.
Were fingerprints helpful at all? Certainly you've done that.
You're talking about fingerprints?
Fingerprints on the car.
We have checked the car, and anything that we found out of that certainly is helpful, but we're not going to get into some specifics on that.
Is there any reason to believe that this person is still in the Bay Area? That description could match any of a million people here, so could he still be here or gone?
It's always a possibility. We don't know. One, we don't know who he is. That's why we have just a composite. Two, the fact that the the murder was committed in Castro Valley, and several hours later, the car was left in Castro Valley. One might think that the person has some connection to Castro Valley, so that's why we're very hopeful that somebody either saw somebody driving this car or has some more information that will come forward and give that to us.
Where was this Volvo in relation to the home prior to it being stolen? Meaning in a garage, outside, and were the keys to the vehicle inside the residence and presumably stolen, or was it on the victim's person perhaps? Going to that.
The vehicle was stolen from the driveway of the residence. In terms of the keys and how the suspect accessed it, we're gonna hold that information back. But that vehicle was taken from the front of the residence.
Is there anything in the way the car was taken that leads you to believe that these people may have known each other, they had prior contact in any way?
Again, until we know who the person is, it'd be speculative.
The person wasn't identified in any way by Mr. Rice?
No, like I said, if we had a named person, we wouldn't be here with a composite. We'd be here with a photograph saying, let's get this person into custody. This is all we have, which is just that from witnesses.
And JD, can you speak a little bit to, Mr. Rice was in Utah, traveling on business, on personal, do we know anything more about that?
That, I know he was out of town. I don't know if I want to get into a victim of this and what he was, his personal life. I'm not sure that's appropriate.
Okay.
But it's safe to say that he was out of town and
Okay.
had absolutely nothing to do with it. He's been super cooperative with us. And I know there's a lot of people that write comments on websites and saying that he may be somehow involved, and that's not the case here. I
Could
just
you
want to make that clear for everyone.
Clarify for me, I don't think I was rolling at that time, so just for my purposes, the relationship between Mr. Rice and the victim.
They have a long-term boyfriend, girlfriend for many.
Lieutenant, you've seen a lot of these over the course of your career. How would you characterize this one as, or how would you characterize this one?
It's a good question.
I characterize this crime as one of the most violent and severes that we've seen in my term with the investigations unit with the sheriff's office. Crimes like this touch investigators, they touch the family, and they touch the community. And because of that, we're gonna dedicate all of our time and resources to trying to solve this crime and bring some justice to the victim that's deceased and for the surviving victims.
Anybody that has information, please call the Alameda County Sheriff's Office at 510-667-3636. Any piece of information on this or any other case is greatly appreciated. Thank you.